Kia ora, good evening. There was a small rise in food prices last month of just 0.3%, following a 0.7% fall in July.
Fresh vegetable prices were higher in August, up 8.6%, influenced by rises in tomatoes, lettuce and broccoli. Fruit prices fell 0.7% with falls in oranges and strawberries. Grocery food prices were lower, including cheaper bread, down 10%, influenced by supermarkets discounting some of their own brand bread to about $1. Cakes and biscuit prices fell 3.9% and milk fell 1.5% from its peak last month. Non-alcoholic beverage prices rose 2% with less discounting on soft drinks. The figures are courtesy of Statistics New Zealand, who visit shops across the country to collect prices for the Food Price Index.
The success of the tuatara breeding program at Southland Museum has contributed significantly to the species being shifted in status from endangered to rare. With around 90 tuatara calling the museum home, stocks are now so high, around half will have to be rehomed, with a new breeding season expected to boost numbers further. Tuatara curator Lindsay Hazley says decisions will have to be made about where they can be placed, but says that a coastal trial on the mainland is proving successful.
We've got a predator-free enclosure which we're trialling outdoors and doing a more scientific process with our tuatara, and we've got 5 animals out on a coastal predator-free enclosure, and we're actually recording all the science, the soil temperatures, air temperatures, maximum minimums, and recording all this data, and I'm really chuffed because they've survived a year now. They've gone through a Southland winter, and often the North Island say, well, the tuatara, the reason they don't live down there is too darn cold. And say, my sort of argument, okay, they may not breed down here, but because they live for 100, 150, maybe 200 years, all it takes is 1 or 2 good years in 100 years of a good weather pattern to sustain a breeding, successful breeding, and then the species continues. So what we've experienced in the last 20 years or the next 50 years, we can't really be so sure to say, okay, the tuatara won't survive, the mate won't breed. All it takes is 1 warm year, and you've got another 150, 200 year window of survivability.
But in the meantime, we still need to have units like this operating.
Absolutely. If anything happened to Stevens Island or Takaparahiwa up the Marlborough Sounds, 90% of all the tuatara live in that one island. If anything happened there, the tuatara are quickly back to rare and endangered. And to maintain skills in captivity, these are quite fragile, sensitive little guys, although most of the zoos around New Zealand have had breeding success. But I'm pretty sure we're probably the most successful breeding and productive captive facility in the country.
As far as, since you are at capacity, they're fairly hungry. You're getting a bit light on the food at the moment. You're doing a hoo-hoo grub call.
I just about have it's actually quite funny here because we maintain a Facebook and sort of different media reaching people. With the tuatara, it's just a matter of cut and paste, taking each season and taking the same sort of request. It's a bit like a broken record. So again, it's our seasonal plea for anyone out there chopping up logs, getting their firewood. It's a good family to go out to the seaward bush or somewhere or a sandy point and find a rotten log. Don't chop any fingers off though, but try and split the logs open and recovering the hoo-hoo grubs out of the logs nice and live. Put them in a whole lot of sawdust because the hoo-hoo grubs have these wee nippers in front of them. And if they're close, they accidentally nip one another and they actually sort of drain themselves. And the tuatara like the food to be live. They're quite carnivorous. They like the enjoyment that they're actually killing something and eating it. They're quite nasty in that sense, but they're predators in their own right.
So until you get a good supply of hoo-hoo grubs, locusts for dinner?
Locusts in the meantime, and in desperation, if I haven't got live food, I have a sort of a catch and release type system where I have a wee fishing pole, a wee bit of nylon, and a galvanised nail, which is grippy. And some of the local iwi have given me fresh mutton bird, because in the wild the tuatara do get to eat the occasional seabird. And I chop those mutton birds up into wee cubes, and I put it onto my fishing pole and I wave it around like playing with a cat, tease the tuatara, they chase after this piece of live dead meat, and once they bite it I can just give a wee flick, the nail releases and they think they've killed something and they're eating a nice nutritious piece of fleshy meat with all the omega-3s and fatty oils from the seabird.
Home support workers are expected to benefit from an agreement between the government and the Public Service Association that will see all home support workers paid for their travel time between clients. Under the agreement, support workers will be paid the minimum wage for travel time from the 1st of July 2015 and mileage of at least 50 cents per kilometre from March the 3rd, 2016. Cabinet has approved the $38 million additional spending. The Public Service Association and the Service and Food Workers Union will now present the proposal to their members for approval. After the break, a local take on the independence vote in Scotland before the week that was. Welcome back. A record number of graduates have signed up for GP training next year, growing the number of doctors practising in New Zealand. Figures from the Ministry of Health show 165 graduate doctors have accepted places into the General Practice Education Program. The government has invested $22 million to provide GP-EP training places, and Health Minister Tony Ryle says there's been a substantial increase in the number of junior doctors interested in becoming GPs. With the vote for Scottish independence next week and the yes and the no votes converging, we thought we'd find out from a couple of staunch Scottish council members just how much support there is for a UK without Scotland.
Though I am a New Zealand citizen, I still think of Scotland as my home, and I just feel that Scotland cannot go it alone in their own right, and they need to have the English Parliament with them, and also it would affect the currency. And I know in about the 1990s that they tried this, but it didn't work. But this time I feel they've got the younger people behind them.
Do you think we might see a few royal visits in the next couple of days? Do you think the Queen might head
Well,
north?
I've just read in today's paper she does not want to be part of it. She said no, she's not going up to Scotland. And I feel that, well, the UK, that's which her allegiance is to the UK. And personally, I feel she should have paid a visit up to Scotland.
So, Alison, if you were casting your vote, it would be a big no.
Yes.
Big no.
A big no if I was casting my vote.
Yeah, I'm totally against it. I can't understand it, actually, that they even want to do it.
There's a significant history of independence, though, or want of independence in Scotland. Do you think that's just inevitable, it would one day happen?
Yeah, no, I think that was resolved hundreds of years ago.
There's a certain amount of autonomy, though, isn't there? I mean, Scotland's got their own rugby team, and, you know, I mean, they do represent themselves as a nation at the Commonwealth Games.
Exactly, and they're proud of that. But then, I mean, the Welsh team and the Irish team.
Do you think that could be the beginning of something? Would Wales, do you think, look at it, the beginning?
Yeah, they're saying that, but I don't know. I don't think Wales could do it. Scotland's got a wee bit of a show with their economy, but I think it's too big a risk.
But if you had a vote, it would be no.
Oh, definitely, yes.
Invercargill City Library took on a musical note today as public were treated to a free concert. The live music performance that took place in the foyer featured student Fliss Crossley-Pritchard, who has previously featured at the library. She entertained an appreciative audience on piano, playing an eclectic mix that included some improvised work. And that's all from the news team for this week. More ice hockey coming up in sport. We'll leave you now with the week that was. Have a great weekend.